name is Rolf Trauch. I retired as a lieutenant colonel from the United States Air Force, and I started my service as an enlisted man in 1955, and I retired from the Air Force in Monterey in 1984.
My name is James Agan, go by Jim, and my branch of the service was the United States Army. I served from September of 1957 for 2 years. Got out of the Army in 1959. My rank at release from the service was Specialist 4th Class.
My name is Reed Bartran. I got out of the Army as a major in the United States Army Field Artillery. I served from 1978 to 1992.
So my name is Casey Rosa. I'm a sergeant in the United States Marine Corps. I'm currently in the reserves, but I was on active duty from 2008 to 2012. And then I started the reserves in 2014. So I've been doing that for about a year now.
Anthony Maya, Sergeant, Marine Corps, 10 years active duty.
I immigrated from Germany. I spoke almost no English, and at that time the Korean draft was still on, and so I was told that I would most likely be drafted into the Army. My uncle felt that I should not do that. He felt that I should try to volunteer to go into the Air Force.
And so I was drafted, came directly to Fort Ord for basic training.
I went to the University of San Francisco, decided to take ROTC while I was there.
I remember talking to the Army recruiter and the Marine recruiter. The Army recruiter, I vividly remember him talking to me saying like, oh, they're not going to treat you good in the Marines, you're not going to make any money, we have bonuses, why would you want to do that? But what really stuck out to me was talking to the Marine recruiter. He was like, what makes you think you're good enough to be in my Marine Corps? So that after that, I immediately knew that the Marine Corps was where I wanted to be.
So I already knew I wanted to go into the Marine Corps, but before I even graduated. So I was in high school. I remember I was in a health class. It was September 11th, right? Saw it on TV and everything. And pretty much at that point, I was like, yeah, that's where I'm going.
And the Air Force had a program at that time that was called the Airman Education and Commissioning Program. And I graduated and had a bachelor's degree. And because of that, I was promoted to lieutenant colonel.
I spent my entire time at Fort Ord working in classification and assignment branch. We oftentimes played volleyball at lunchtime, all the people who worked in our office, which wasn't the best thing in the world because you'd go out and play volleyball and get all hot and sweaty and then come back and work all afternoon. And that wasn't too good.
My overseas assignments, my significant ones, was in Germany for 6 years and in Saudi Arabia during Desert Storm. I was in a position where I was able to see the fall of the East German Wall. I got to go to Saudi Arabia, Desert Storm. I was part of the combat team, however, the ground combat lasted for 4 days, so very few people actually saw, because I was in the Tactical Operations Center. We were behind, directing traffic, if you will.
So I did 10 years. The first 3 years, I was a mechanic. It wasn't for me. Like I knew I wanted something more, something better. So from that point, I switched over. It's a lateral move to EOD, so explosive ordnance disposal.
Yeah, I was stationed in Okinawa, Japan. I lived there from 2009 to 2012, and while I was stationed there, I deployed to Afghanistan in 2010 and 2012. So I was an 0861 forward observer. In layman's terms, I call for artillery, and then I assist with airstrikes.
During my service, I was mainly in intelligence at that time, and there was the Vietnam War was in progress, and I decided to volunteer to spend a year in Vietnam as an intelligence officer. War is hell.
I remember I landed on Leatherneck that first day, and this was in the end of May on our first deployment. I was like, oh, maybe it won't be so bad out here. It's only like 80 degrees. And I remember I looked down at my watch and it was 6:30 in the morning. So from there, I knew I was in for a pretty rude awakening.
I was rooming with pilots and navigators, and many of them were shut down. And we were under constant attack too from the Viet Cong shooting rockets to the Air Force Base. It was so bad at Da Nang that our food, for example, we ate eggs, they were all bad. We had to put lots of ketchup on it just to make them tasty. So, and then we left to Thailand, and as I said, it was the first thing we all did. We went to the mess hall and we had eggs.
I mean, it's pretty much, I'd say, the most miserable living conditions you could think of, probably. I mean, for 6 weeks I slept out of a truck. I ate MREs every day. I got a shower, once every few weeks if I was lucky. And then on top of that, I had people trying to kill me on a regular basis. So, yeah, it was a little rough.
I'd say loss of friends. That's the hardest part you have to deal with. But, it's not something you get used to, but it's something that I want to say you get numb to.
Yeah, I don't know. Have another human being trying to kill you, and you doing the same at the same time. Being in that firefight, that gunfight, rounds cracking over your head, explosions going off. You can't hear a damn thing. It's insane. There's no other feeling like it. No adrenaline rush doesn't really do it justice.
Oh man, it's a rush, man. It's a rush. It's fun. You not only have to be let's say you have to be crazy or stupid. Not stupid, so
The man I am today is thanks to the Marine Corps. I wouldn't have had nearly this much discipline or structure in my life had I not joined the Marine Corps. I wouldn't change a thing.
I don't think so. It's very difficult to say, but I really enjoy the military life. I met my wife at a military base, so it's all worked out pretty well. And now we live in Carmel, California. You can't really beat that,
Organization, the discipline that comes with military life, those were all positive things that came out of the military.
And no, I would not do anything different. I would marry the same wife that I have the same children that I have. I would not do anything different.